Hi, it's Dr. Diana Hoppy, and thank you for joining me. It's Tuesday night, not Thursday night, and it's 7 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. We're going to talk about how to stay skinny and cheat a little bit on Thanksgiving. So let's first give a little time for people to sign in, say that they're joining. Also, if you have any questions you want me to address, please do so, because that's the purpose of these Facebook Lives, to kind of cover what you all are interested in. We got some wonderful people joining. Hey, we got Danny. We got to put my glasses on. We got, oh my gosh, Andrew, Peg, Linda. Cool. Excellent. Oh my God, Angie. I love all these people joining. So thank you. So let me ask you just a general question of those who have joined thus far. Do you think a cheat day is a good idea? So what are your thoughts about that? Because we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. The pros and cons, and how you might manage that the best way that you can. So let me give a little bit about me. I'm Dr. Diana Hoppy. I'm an OBGYN here in San Diego, California, and I love doing the Facebook Lives. I normally do Thursday nights, but as we know, Thanksgiving is Thursday night. So I wanted to talk about something that's relevant to Thanksgiving that we all could benefit from. And I hope those around the country are watching, even the East Coast and abroad. So please say who you are, where you're calling in from, any questions that you might have as we go along, and just have some fun and learn some things. That's the whole goal of the Facebook Lives. So let's see, we have more people joining. Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about what is a cheat day. So we have options when we think about Thanksgiving. And some of us might say, oh, well, I need to stay on my kind of diet, which I don't like the word diet, but let's say their regimen that they're on. Or you could say, this is a special occasion. It's Thanksgiving. I'm going to be with my family. I'm going to have maybe that extra piece of pumpkin pie, maybe a little more mashed potatoes and gravy, a little of that sweet potato dish that with the marshmallows. I think it's too sweet. But they always make that dish. So let's say you're thinking, do I want to do option one, where I kind of not really deny yourself, but kind of limit to enjoy the occasion, versus option two, which is you have a fun time, you let yourself eat what you want, knowing that the next day, Friday, you're going to go back to your normal routine of what you're eating. So you're not going to be like picking out every night. That the goal is you can have a night, maybe once a week, maybe once a month, where you have a cheat day, or a splurge day. That's another way to say it. I kind of like that better than cheat, because cheat sounds like it's not being honest. When you are being honest, you're just making the decision to give yourself the opportunity to eat a little bit things different that you wouldn't normally have on your daily routine. So I hope that makes some sense about what is a cheat day. If there's any confusion about that, or what is a splurge day, what does that mean? Please let me know, because I want to make sure that we start with that. So let's first talk about what controls our hunger and what makes a cheat day good or bad. So it was really interesting when I was looking up information about tonight's call. I learned a lot from these things, because I didn't know about a lot of the hormones, and then specifically their effects. So I love hormones. I'm an OBGYN. I just do GYN now, so no more babies. I love the babies, but they kept you up all night, and I didn't get much sleep. And we know that lack of sleep is not good for you in many ways. So back to hormones. Hormones are important in lots and lots of things. And I love the brain. I love showing you my brain. And it has to do, again, with the hypothalamus. When I talk about hormones, I always talk about the hypothalamus and the pituitary, because that is like the control center for your hormones. Think of an orchestra, and that is the conductor. So the conductor of the orchestra is the hypothalamus and the pituitary. So what's interesting about the brain is it controls a lot of the hormones that go into hunger. So if you go to my website, the drdianahoppy.com, and you put in the search bar the Hunger Games, I talked about the two hormones that are really important with appetite and satiety. I'm going to show you one of the pictures that's in that blog. And basically it talks about the hormones involved with your brain and how it works with hunger and satiety. So the real ones that you need to know about is something called ghrelin. And I think I like to remember this like by GER, because your stomach will be kind of like asking for food. So ghrelin, Ghrelin, that is a hormone that's secreted by the stomach, and it signals that we're hungry. So it tells the brain, we're hungry, search for food. We need food. Now in dieters, what's interesting is that the ghrelin levels increase because we sometimes limit our food intake, and that makes us feel even more hungry. So ghrelin is the one that controls the hunger, so that we tell our brain, we're really hungry, we want to find food, and then we go to get food. Now, the other hormone is called leptin, Leptin. And what leptin is, it's made in the fat cells. It's actually produced in the adipose tissue, and it suppresses appetite. So we have one that increases and one that suppresses appetite. And normally the hypothalamus will respond, and so there we actually stay a good weight that's healthy. Well, the leptin, when the body fat decreases, leptin levels fall and our appetite goes up. So I hope that makes sense, that when we're hungry, ghrelin goes up. When we start getting full, leptin levels go down. The other two hormones I want to make sure I cover are insulin, which is made by the pancreas. And we know that once you eat, you have a rise in blood sugar and your insulin levels will rise. And that's to help the blood sugar get into the cell. And there's another hormone, which is a really cool one, that when I was in medical school a few years ago, we didn't know about this, or we didn't talk about it. It's called PYY. It's made by the small intestine. So it's made in the bowel, which is really interesting. And it works to suppress the appetite. So it counters the ghrelin effect. So here, thank you, Danny, for posting it. The Hunger Games is a great blog I wrote that's going to really go into more depth about what I'm talking about with these hormones. So let's go back to what is a cheat day and how might it be beneficial. So a cheat day means that you have a planned day where you might splurge a little bit on something you're eating, such as Thursday, which is Thanksgiving. So I want you to all enjoy Thanksgiving and not be guilty that you're eating all this horrible food, which some of it may be nutritious, but some of it's really not the most nutritious. But not get on yourself, because you really want to enjoy that meal, enjoy the taste, be mindful of all the different flavors, the company you're surrounded by, and really enjoy that event, knowing the next day you're going to go back to your normal regimen and your routine with exercise, etc. So let's go into what is the benefit of having a cheat day. And the research I did, it shows that the cheat day can actually be a mind booster. That is, it helps your mood. Well, how does that work? When you're on a diet, which again, when you're on a certain program where you're trying to limit your calorie intake, if you're on that for a prolonged period of time, your leptin levels will drop. What that does is it actually makes you feel less motivated. You have less dopamine. You have other factors that make your mood not as good. Now, if you actually cheat and have a day where you're having more foods that have, let's say, a different kind of food or maybe more caloric intake, but some still have nutrients in them, not just plain like cotton candy, which has nothing in it, but let's say a piece of carrot cake or something that has something in it, but a lot of sugar. But what that does is that will raise your leptin levels. That gets your metabolism to increase. It also will help your mood, which I thought was really interesting. So when the leptin levels are down, we have less motivation. When the leptin levels are produced by the fat cells by having a meal that's a little more caloric, a little bit more sugar and fat, your actually body will signal satiety, but it also will increase your dopamine, increase libido, and increase motivation, which I think is really cool. And I didn't know that before I actually did this talk. I knew about leptin and ghrelin, but I didn't know how they worked with regard to like the brain neurotransmitters, which is really cool. The other thing that can happen when you're on a strict diet and caloric intake, you not only decrease your leptin levels, you also decrease the levels of thyroid. So your T3, which is a thyroid hormone, again, your brain, the hypothalamus releases thyroid stimulating hormone to the thyroid. So this is another graph I have. And this shows the hypothalamus, pituitary, and it sends signal to lots of different organs, and the thyroid being one of those. So thyroid stimulating hormone comes from the brain, it goes to the thyroid, and the thyroid then makes T3 and T4. Well, when you have caloric restriction, like a strict diet, you're going to have less T3. Now, T3 is important for metabolism. So if you don't have enough T3, your metabolic rate will decrease. making it harder to lose weight. So that's why some of my patients, and me too, if we're on a certain regimen and like we're eating really well and we're like, God, that we had 1 or 2 weeks and we're doing so well, but I haven't lost any weight. Give yourself a day where you actually change what you eat, because that's going to reactivate your metabolism. You're going to increase your thyroid hormone, increase the leptin. You're also going to increase, let me see, there's one other one. I want to make sure I say it right. It is the insulin growth factor. So that also helps with insulin levels. So when you have that cheat day, let's say once a week or maybe once a month, that's going to reestablish that thermostat in your brain to actually start motivating and getting more weight off. So I hope that's making sense, because it's kind of counterintuitive. You think, I'm going to have this day where I'm going to eat things I don't normally eat and let myself splurge a little bit. It has to do with resetting the thermostat. So your body gets kind of used to a low caloric intake and it gets really efficient. It says, you know what, we're having low calories. Let's use this food best possible. And then it's harder to lose weight. So if you give yourself a day where you will have a splurge day, let's say, and again, it could be once a week or maybe once a month, depending on how comfortable you feel with this. Because sometimes if we start eating too much sugar, we get really, off track. So I was doing some information about what are the pros and cons of having a cheat day or a splurge day. And it really has to do with how you can be moderate in how you do these things, which I guess we all know moderation is key to lots of things. But if you do a cheat day and you have a lot of sugar, we know that sugar can be very addicting, almost more than cocaine. I think they've done studies in mice, finding that mice will actually go for sugar more than cocaine, which is pretty incredible when you think about our brain. And if we eat sugar, that is like the high fructose corn syrup, candy bars. Now Christmas is coming and we're going to have even more sugar. It's really better if we kind of not eat those types of sugars, because then we get into this addictive, you want more sugar. It's like a craving. You want more sugar. It takes about 2 to 3 days to get out of that habit, let's say. And interesting, because it really takes a few days for your body to say, go cold turkey and no more sugar. And I wrote a blog about this too, which I think Danny will post, and it was about sugar being the white death, and that we really have to watch the sugars we eat. There are some good sugars as well as good fats, but we have to watch which ones we choose, because some are a lot more addictive than others. So when I looked at the research about this, they looked at, can someone have a cheat or splurge day and be okay with that? And that really depends on the person. So some of us watching and being online here, we have more people joining, which is so great. We got Reed, we got Nancy, Dolores, Nicole, Kathleen, and I think I also saw Deb. So if you're on, thank you. This is awesome. It's so great to have this kind of discussion. If you have questions, please post those, because I'll look continuously so we can address those. So with sugar, it depends on, can you do that or not? So if you're someone who says, you know what, if I have one bite of too much sugar, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go down that pathway where I just can't stop. Then you may not want to have sugar that much during that splurge day. Also, if you tend to have more alcohol, if you have an alcohol and then, that's another way that you can kind of see, are you going to be better not to have any alcohol on that splurge day? Because that also helps. It makes it easier to lose weight if you actually don't have as much alcohol. It's less sugar intake. So I see how Danny posted, is sugar the white death? So I have a lot of cool blogs on my drdianahoppy.com site. And so I try to reference those, because I know on these Facebook Lives, I cover a lot of information and I tend to be pretty quick in how I do things. Part is because I want to give you all really good information, but I know that sometimes it takes a little longer to kind of process a lot of this stuff. And that's why I write the blogs and then cite them, so that you can go back and take your time, read about these things and how is sugar bad and all those type of things. The other thing is, I know I talk about stress a lot. And so if you're stressed, we know that causes you to hold on to fat. And that has to do with cortisol. And that, again, is your adrenal gland in the brain. The hypothalamus, pituitary, sending a signal to the adrenal gland that causes more cortisol. Cortisol makes your body think you're in a flight or fight reaction, but chronic stress will have high cortisol levels, which make your body just want to pack on more fat and pack on more storage so that you can fight that famine. But unfortunately, we don't have those famines, or fortunately, but we have supermarkets. We don't exercise as much, potentially. We're not walking to get our food. We're driving to the supermarket. So that's another one that I wrote about, is cortisol. And that has to do with, why can't I lose that darn belly fat? So that has to do with cortisol and stress and how that's harder to lose weight. So let's talk about some of the ways that you can have a splurge day or a cheat day and still maintain your health and maintain your diet and feeling good about yourself. Let's say you're on a goal and you want to lose 20 pounds. Most of us want to lose 10, 20 about pounds. So you want to go for that goal and make sure that 90% of the time you're still sticking to your regimen. That means you're exercising, you're eating the good foods that are nutritious, you are sleeping enough, drinking enough water, all those really important things. But one day of a month, or maybe one time a week, you can have a splurge day. And that'll be a day where you might have something you wouldn't normally eat. Now, I still like you to have something nutritious, but I understand that you might want like a piece of cake or potato chips and dip, but just be in moderation. Don't have the whole cake and don't have the whole bag of chips. Believe me, I think we've all done that. And it's best if we can monitor a little bit and not go too crazy on those days where we're having the splurge days. So you want to make sure you hit your targets. So get the weight that you want to lose, let's say 2 pounds a week. Give yourself a time where you can have a splurge day. And at first I say about once every 2 weeks if you're on a plan. And after that, it could be once a week or once a month, depending on how you're doing with those splurge days and how your body's reacting to it. So good, Karen and Debbie. Oh my God, we got great people. It's back on. And then what's interesting is when I was looking at this also was that some of the authors, some of the scientists that I looked at didn't like the term cheating. They liked the term more like you earned it and it's maybe a splurging. So you've earned this ability to have a day where you're going to go off track a little bit, eat some foods that you normally wouldn't eat. We talked about some of the benefits of that because it's going to increase your leptin, it's going to increase your T3, it's going to increase the insulin growth factor. So all of those are going to help reset your metabolism, which kind of makes a little blip and makes your body kind of go, oh, we're out of this kind of funk where we were kind of watching how much energy we were expending. So you want to call it more like a day that you earned it. And then this is really important. And this is what's really, I think, apropos, because tomorrow is Thanksgiving. Plan your splurge day. So we know tomorrow is Thursday. I'm sorry, not tomorrow. Gosh, I'm already ready for Thanksgiving. Tomorrow's Wednesday. But on Thursday, you can plan your splurge. So no, on Thanksgiving, you're going to give yourself a break. You're going to have a little bit more to eat. And I wouldn't go like the whole way of eating the whole pumpkin pie and going totally out of control, but give yourself a little more flexibility. Then knowing that the next day is Friday, and you still might have a lot of family in town, you still might have parties you're going to, but be a little more cognizant of what you're eating then. Because if you go for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, then you're going to say, oh, forget it. I've screwed this whole thing up. I can't do it. So you have to rebalance. You got to get reset and say on Friday, I'm going to go for my walk. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to have my salads again and start eating a little bit better because I had a great day yesterday and I gave myself a real treat. So it has to do with a long-term plan. That is, you have a certain habit. So I don't like diets because diets, you don't go on diets, you go on vacations. Diets are something that I don't really believe in. I believe in more long-term lifestyle changes. And that means getting the exercise, getting the foods that are really nutritious, finding out what your body does best with regard to foods, and what amount of fats and carbohydrates and protein works best for your body. So I like lifestyle changes and how we can do this long-term. Because I think one of the worst things I know is when you lose weight and then what, in 3 weeks or a month, you gain it back so easily. You're like, how did that happen? Well, it's because you kind of went out of your routine and the habits you were doing while you were kind of following that nutritious regimen. So let's see what questions we have going here. Danny, do you have a few suggestions of foods? Oh, that are not, this is a great one. Kathleen asked, the holidays are coming, need to plan for those parties. One of the tricks, and I can send out an email about this, maybe next week I'll send it out. It had to do with some tips about if you're going to parties, how you can decrease the amount that you eat once you go to a party. And one would be to have a small meal before you go, like have a cup of soup or a salad. so that you're not as hungry when you go. Make sure you're well hydrated, because if you're not hydrated, you get more hungry. So stay hydrated. If you're having alcohol, have a glass of wine, then a cup of water. A glass of wine and a cup of water. So you're actually hydrating, and it will slow down the pace that you're drinking of the alcohol. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, plan on doing your exercise. So after the party the next day, go to the gym. Even the day of the party, go to the gym and know that you might have a few extra calories at the party so that you kind of work those calories off. So I'll post that. I can even do it. You know what I'll do? I'll do that on Friday. I put it on my site, the drdianahoppe.com site, and I put that up. And then, gosh, I hope I can do that. I think I can, because I know I have my receptionist help me do these things. Anyway, I'll get it within the next week. So it's going to be the holiday tips to decrease the weight gain, because we gain, in general, about 6 to 10 pounds from Thanksgiving to New Year's. And so we don't want to do that. We want to stay a good weight, have fun, but still be healthy. So back to Danny's question. Let's see. She says, do you have any suggestions on food that are satisfying? And so I think the foods that would be like hummus and veggies. So veggies are really good. They've got good fiber. They're good for you. So rather than chips and dip, have veggies and hummus. You can have a salad and put some good things in. You can even put some nuts in there and some cranberries, make it a little flavorful. So that's a good thing too. Lean protein, avocados, olive oil, all of those are really good fats, and they're more satisfying. And protein tends to be very satisfying. Like tonight I made some chicken breasts, I just kind of grilled them. It was wonderful. And that really helped satisfy my hunger. So protein, also there's lentils and beans that are great for that too, that are high rich in iron too. So let's see. Hi, Deb. Kathleen says, thank you. Sue actually had a great comment here. She said, reward yourself for something great instead of a reward for something only lasting as long as your mouth. Okay. Very good. So one of the rewards we do for ourselves is eating. Now, that may be a problem for some because we eat emotionally. We eat because we're bored. We eat because we're angry. So you can reward yourself with a splurge day and something you eat, but you can also reward yourself with something else. Let's say you're making a garden, like an herb garden, or you want to reward yourself with a new pair of shoes or a new gym outfit because you lost that weight. So yes, food is not the only way we can reward ourselves, but I think I was kind of focusing on how, with Thanksgiving coming, how we can do that with the temptations that we actually face. So yes, food is one way, but there's lots of ways that we can reward ourselves. So good point. I appreciate that. Danny says, thank you. Oh yeah, emotional eating. I think a lot of us can say that, we go to food to fill a void. Now this is common because there's stress in our lives. There's a lot of pressure. We feel overwhelmed. And we're just like, oh, screw it. I'm just going to have a glass of wine, or I'm going to have that piece of pie, or I don't have time to make a nice salad. I'm just going to grab whatever's in the refrigerator. So I think that's where planning comes in, and lifestyle. So if we can be a little bit better about planning, and that just means one step. It doesn't mean change your whole refrigerator. It means like get rid of the diet sodas. Get rid of some of the fatty foods that you really are good for you. And step by step do these things. So it's not an overnight process. It's weeks and then months. And then it's basically years of staying with the same lifestyle choices and the habits. And that's what's going to keep you healthy. And so you might have a day where you say, oh, I'm going to go eat a little bit more, or you're traveling, etc. You can give yourself that reward, that joy, that satisfaction, and know that you're still going to be on track. So I really hope that I made that point clear. And then the hormones that are involved, which I love hormones. I love doing hormones with my patients, but these are hormones I don't talk about daily because these are in the GI tract, the stomach I mentioned. We mentioned also about the fat cells, and just amazing hormones that our body is exposed to, and how can we live the best life possible. So let me see what other comments we have. Let me see if I have some others here. About the holidays are coming, need to plan. I think I mentioned a little about that. Let me see if there's anything else that people have questions about, because otherwise what I'll do is I kind of just summarize that the bottom line is you can have a cheat day. And so Thursday is Thanksgiving. I thought it was tomorrow, but I'm getting anxious. No, I'm really looking forward to it. But it's more to know that you can give yourself a day where you can have food maybe a little bit more in quantity. You can give yourself a break, enjoy the food, savor the food, Be mindful of when you're eating. Don't just shovel it in, but like take a bite, think about how it tastes. Is it salty? Is it sweet? How does it taste in your mouth? And just really savor it, because that also makes it more enjoyable when you're mindful. So great comment. And let's see what Deb says. What do you think about fasting 1 day per week? Yes, that has actually been shown that if you have a day of fasting in between certain days of eating, that will also reset your thermostat, like your body's metabolism. So if that's something that you can do, because sometimes like I'm not great at fasting for a whole day. I need food. I need energy. So for me, it's more restrict my caloric intake, maybe have a day where I'm just having more of fruits and vegetables type thing, and then lean protein. But fasting has been shown for 1 day in intervals that it can help motivate, accelerate your weight loss, and that it actually helps also with longevity. So living longer. They found that too. So one of the things I'm going to treat myself to tonight that I wanted to share with you all is the Chocolatl. Now this is on my Indiegogo campaign, and it's called Chocolatl. These are chocolates, and they are all organic, GMO free, basically everything that you could be free except flavor. The flavor is amazing. So on my Indiegogo campaign for my Amazing Over 40, I think you can see that, my Amazing Over 40, if you go to the link that Danny just posted, one of the perks, that is if you donate to the campaign, which is for an online resource so we can do more in-depth of these things, have webinars, have retreats, have times where we can just chill and enjoy the company, but also learn. And I'll have experts that I interview about your nutrition, your fitness, your mindfulness, stress reduction, things like that. So this is just one of the chocolates. This is for a mood booster, and this helps with, let me get my glasses. Yeah, this is Mood Boost, and this has coconut sugar, so that's good sugar, and then raw cacao, and let's see, that's really cool. This is the Energy Boost. I want to share this one with you. This is Energy Boost, and it's Chocolatl. Again, you can order it on that site. This has maca root and then raw cacao, and maca root we know is really good for libido and for energy. So we have these chocolates on. I have a little bit of this chocolate here because I'm giving myself a little treat, and it's really, really yummy. I mean, this chocolate's phenomenal. So with that, I'm going to let you all have an amazing, amazing night. When you support my campaign, you get different perks. This is the raw chocolate that is awesome, awesome. And I say you can have this, and you can have some on Thursday if you like. Order it, and it's going to come in about whatever time you want, 2 weeks. But order it on the site, and then you give it to friends because Hanukkah, Christmas is coming, all those wonderful things. And you want really healthy chocolates. So that's the Chocolatl. And I'm going to enjoy my chocolate now. I'm going to let all of you go and have a wonderful evening. Audrey, thanks for joining. The good news about these programs is that I record them. So if you came in a little late, which happens because it's Tuesday night, and we normally do these on Thursday night, you can go back and listen to the recording. You also can share with your friends. You can also like my Facebook page. So if you can do that too, that would be awesome. So with that, I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. I will post the holiday tips about parties and planning probably on Monday, because that's when I'll have my receptionist be able to get the link and post it, and we can email it and make sure everyone gets it who wants it on the site too. So it'll be on the site. So with that, I'll let you all go. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And remember, you can enjoy that meal, savor it, and know that it's okay, because the next day you're going to go right back on track. All right. Have a wonderful evening, and thanks for joining me tonight. Take care.